Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Glostars. Sorry.
I have a Russian lady speaking in my ear saying,
"This doesn't make sense."
Subtitles in these meetings would be very, very helpful.
Where are my papers? Where are my papers?
That's cheating.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's a normal relationship.
No way.
You don't want to know.
Okay, mom. I'm gonna rule them both.
The business is not like a machine.
I'm a very good bullshitter.
Promotion, I'm gonna cut it.
Hey, but we can do bigger, we can do better.
Chill out.
Drinking and blowing your head off.
Seriously, that's the Finnish spirit. That's how we're gonna end the conversation.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again in the coffee break with Glostars. I am Jonathan. I will be your host for this talk. And joining us is Anastasia, also from Glostars. You know her as well. And also is Ekaterina and Boris, both PhD all the way from Turku. And they have also experience with entrepreneurship.
Since we started this introduction, I think, Ekaterina, how would you introduce yourself in 2 sentences?
Oh no.
You're like, where are my papers? Where are my papers?
I have notes, I'm prepared. Yeah! So, hi, I'm Ekaterina, and I am an entrepreneur. I am a scholar, a researcher, a PhD candidate, a great sister and girlfriend, and just an adventurer.
Just a pretty lady. Just a pretty lady.
And a good friend, I guess, also sometimes.
Yeah, that's important. Boris, you have 5 words to describe yourself.
5 words. I guess nice, PhD, co-founder. What else?
What else is
What
nice?
else?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jonathan, you also should introduce yourself because nobody has seen you before. What's gonna be your tagline? Like, like the slogan.
All right. An adventurous, crazy dude who likes to do everything at once.
Now, at once. Now you can ask him to do everything, and he's gonna do it at once.
We have the themes of university studies and how it connects to entrepreneurship in Finland. So the question is, can you actually learn business and startup with the academia?
I think I'll answer first as the representative of Turku School of Economics, because in a business school you are supposed to learn business, but you would be surprised still how many misconceptions the students have when they enter the business school, because you can learn about entrepreneurship, you can learn about business, about organizations, but it's not the same as like learning, how to get bank loans, which tax forms to fill, how to hire people. You do learn, I did take a course when I studied myself how to fire people. That was very stressful, because that was before I actually even been hired ever on any summer job here. And I already learned how to fire.
Yeah, at the beginning you actually know what are the hints that I'm gonna be fired, so okay.
Yes, but you do learn more about the position of business, so it gives you kind of a framework.
What are the challenges that you have faced as guys with a strong academic background when you were starting your businesses?
At least in my experience, because I studied theoretical physics, where everything is kind of you try to be as precise and detailed as possible. In the business world, it's a bit more of in the marketing sense. You have to sell yourself. You can't be too humble, let's say, about your things. You have to be I'm the best. I mean, it's gonna be even better in the future. So you should totally invest in the scientific world. If you do that, then you're gonna be bombed with all kinds of questions and criticism.
Is it bad to be criticized in the academic world? Because I would assume that it's not that bad to be criticized in the business world, because it actually can work well for you if you know how to use it. But in the academic world, is it actually a problem?
If it's constructive criticism, if it's of course a very positive thing. It's part of the, for example, the review process of your paper. But if you start, like if you put a paper out, say in public circulation, which claims a lot of outrageous things, you're gonna get like a lot of contacts with people asking you to explain these things, and it's just gonna, like, for example, at the very least, it's gonna be a very time-consuming thing to reply to all these things, if you want, of course. But then it's gonna affect your reputation as well, because these scientific, let's say, circles are quite smallish if you are specialized in one thing or another. So if everybody will know, this is the person who is saying these things.
Are scientists actually harsh people? They're gonna put tomatoes and rotten tomatoes, like in one movie.
Some of them can be. Some of them really start like when you're giving a lecture, they may interrupt you and ask very hard things and ask you to explain these things right there and very quickly, which is a bit unnerving.
So it's actually stressful to do PhD studies and actually be a scientist.
I think 50% of PhD students have some form of depression during the whole thing.
That is true. That is definitely true. But I must say that not all academics are harsh, and you can always find your community. And as Boris said, it's different criticism. So sometimes you can have useful criticism when people actually understand what you're doing. So you would find your niche, which is difficult to do. And I think it's similar in entrepreneurships. There's a mainstream of that also gets the best investments and everything. And then they get you, if you are not exactly fitting in this mold, then you get criticized oh, I'm not seeing the numbers, I'm not seeing this growing.
Before starting my master's, I was in engineering school back home in Mexico. And something that I was talking with my supervisors here when I was writing my master's thesis is that people believe that engineering school is difficult because there's a lot of numbers, equations, graphs and statistics and everything. But you have no idea how difficult it is to read people.
Jonathan, I will have an argument over this with you, because
you don't need to read people. You can just ask them.
Yeah, can you actually read people? And I think it's more about understanding, trying to understand, learning more about them. But reading is it's very academic. Actually, you have some academic genes over there. So because you need to do lots of reading.
Have you had to read people when you're in your business?
It's a completely different, environment than academia. You have to kind of, indeed, maybe not read people, but you kind of have to listen to what people say. And
you notice that Boris is being cautious with his words, and actually my motivation to do PhD was because I'm a very good bullshitter. I can actually.
I think now we're gonna get rotten tomatoes from the academic world.
I'm able to say things confidently, even if I'm not 100% sure of that, and I'm afraid of this power. So the reason I had to go and do a PhD was to make myself as sure as possible.
But you have knowledge. I mean, come on, you're not a bullshitter. You have the knowledge anyway, so. I kind of also trying to protect you over here, because if any of your students gonna see this and be okay, now our lecturer is a bullshitter, bye-bye.
I fact check everything, but it's kind of, I think you have met a lot in the entrepreneurial world, also people who are able to say this will fly or this will work 100%. And then you're what exactly? What amount of percentage are you basing it on what kind of facts?
It's a very good skill, I would say.
Bullshitting.
Yeah, sometimes it is. In some cases it is. I'm very bad at that, I have to say. I really try to if I say something, I would like to okay, this is maybe correct within this amount of error or something like that.
So it's actually very nice.
Same principle.
You're bullshitting? I mean, seriously, guys, we had a very serious topic over here. How we ended up from academia to bullshitting. So it's just
Well, because you have to learn also how to bullshit in text. See, I mean, if I want to express an idea of 2 sentences for my master's thesis, it has to be as long as 2 pages with like 7 references with numbers.
But these page amounts also, they signal you don't actually need to write too much, but they signal about the amount of precision you put in the arguments you're making. So you never want to like jump from one thing to another without having all the connected dots, because that's where the horrors lie of error.
But I think it's
Alright.
cool that you found such nice correlations, because I was thinking like academia is actually quite boring. No, not like I thought, but that's the general knowledge that I was gathering. But I think it actually can be fun.
Bora, tell a fun fact about academia. Why is academia fun?
That. Well, I mean, it's fun because you have a lot of freedom, actually, much more freedom than, let's say, in the company that we have now. Well, because I mean, when you are in academia, you have to produce ideas. While you are in business, you have to produce products.
Yeah.
If you produce ideas, you're gonna go down really quickly. And but that's like most fun. You can do pretty much. You can study pretty much whatever you want. Of course, you have like your supervisor and whatever. But other than that, you study whatever you want, and then you go to conferences. You meet a lot of nice people. You have a lot of fun, go to all these social events and dinners and stuff.
You could just say parties. I mean, you could just say, because you do social events. That's very academic.
That's a code, because academic parties are not just parties. Academic parties should be called social events, but because it's next level.
What advice every of you gonna give to master's students out there who are like finishing their studies, because it's like May, June, so people are finishing their school? What to do, where to go, what to experience? What would be your word?
You enjoy doing your research for a master's thesis, then you probably will love doing the research for a PhD. But if your thing is not academia, then also Finland is a good option for high-skilled labor people. In social sciences, in exact sciences, in physics and math, in geology, in marketing, in business, doesn't really
How did you end up in geology?
I don't know. It's an
You'll be surprised.
Out of nowhere, geology.
Geographers get a lot of traction.
Well, also, now that you mentioned, Finland has also a very good environment for startup creation. And anybody is very much, if he's willing to become an entrepreneur, then there are options here.
I'll speak the harsh truth. After a master's degree, especially if you're an international person, it is hard to stay in Finland, especially if you haven't established networks. But all the opportunities are there. It's just not always that easy to get to them. So keep searching, look out, talk to people. Definitely nothing will happen if you don't try. Deciding entrepreneurship is a good option, especially if you are having trouble getting hired in corporations.
That's true.
Boris, how would you motivate students, master students?
Well, I don't know. So much has been said already. I guess studying new things is always good, and working hard pays off in any case. And try to keep a positive attitude. Finnish language is not very easy. I would say it's quite hard to learn, but if you use it as much as you can learn it for sure within a short, well, not short, but intermediate period of time, let's say.
I think my advice would be to listen to yourself, because of course you would like to achieve great results, but you also need to be in peaceful mind with yourself and understand that's your thing, that you feel comfortable in it, and you have that commitment to continue it for some time. Because PhD students, entrepreneurial life, just building their career, it all takes time and lots of efforts. So listen to yourself and just do it. But I think it was like we still need time for a second discussion or third, I think, but we kind of should wrap it up for today. That's your best face.
I don't know.